So let's start with the basics, shall we? What should we consider when investing within the aviation industry? It is really important for individuals, businesses, and government corporations to thoroughly consider certain factors when investing in the airlines. Why, I hear you ask? Or when you do invest within an airline, you want your investment to grow, you want to receive strong revenue and profit from that, and you also want to be investing in a good airline that is bringing good economic expenditure to the world. So we look at the airline. Where does the airline sit in the market? Is it a full service airline or is it a low cost carrier? Is it an airline like Air New Zealand, who was voted the most trusted, respected and admired company within Australia and the Pacific? That was stated earlier this week on Air New Zealand's Twitter. Or perhaps, is it an airline that just filed for voluntary administration like Virgin Australia last month? You look at whether you want to support an airline who needs investors' help, or you also look at an airline who you know is going to come out stronger on the other side during this COVID-19 crisis and who is going to grow. We look at the season. When we look at the current season, we look at what time of the year is it now? And will this airline be making profit in months to come? For example, you're more likely to invest in an airline before peak season, which is September, October, just before Christmas, where the company is making its profits slowly for Christmas time. Christmas is where the airline increases their pricing as the loading of the aircrafts have increased immensely. Therefore, revenue per passenger kilometres would also be quite high. You can also look at, for example, investing in an airline, for example, in Europe. Their peak season is June, July, August, during summertime of Europe. So if you were going to invest with a European airline, that's something you would consider then in regards to season. We then look at the cash flow analysis of the airline. This is where we learn to understand money in versus money out within the airline. How much profit is that particular airline making, or revenue in versus money out within the airline? How much profit is that particular airline making, or revenue? This leads to our next factor of understanding the operating costs of the airline. We can understand at the moment that all airlines are losing in operating costs during this COVID-19 situation. Each airline is having every individual person who works in sales and or operations working around the clock to cater to passengers who have been disrupted during this time, who won't be able to travel due to the pandemic. With no passengers in the world booking flights for leisure or business, at the moment the available seat per kilometre would be higher than the revenue per kilometre for operating airlines at the moment. However, if we were to look at normal pre-pandemic or hopefully post-pandemic, the operating costs of the airline may include your airport costs. That includes your turnaround times of when that aircraft is on chocks to off chocks. Our check-in counters that were used to check in people, also our boarding gates. We also look at our FID screens, which are the ones that display the airline's logo and that say gate open, gate closed, gate boarding. Overall, right at the end, you need to consider your personal financial status. And it may be your own individual financial status, your own business financial status, and or your own governance financial status. After looking upon the factors mentioned, we must weigh up, is this going to be a beneficial and successful investment for me, my company, or my government? Will we come out with growth on the other side? So can we support these running airlines? If you look at a company like Virgin Australia, who did have current investors, they are now struggling to support that airline. So you need to consider, can I support an airline if that was to happen?